and welcome to NTA Nationwide. I'm Elizabeth Banu. The 2017 budget has been transmitted to the presidency as passed by the National Assembly for assent of the president. Special advisor to the president on National Assembly matters and the Senate, Senator Ita Inang, told State House correspondent Jide Onifade that the budget would further receive actions from the presidency.
The assent to the bill will be upon completion of the standard operating procedures that operate in the presidency or in the government's house when a bill is sent. The bill has 30 days within which it is to be assented to. But the processes can be completed a day or two or three. But as soon as the processes are completed, but within the period limited by law, it can be assented. So it's not possible to say that on so-so day or within a day or two, it can be assented to. It is upon completion of work by the president. And the president here is acting president in this instance. Acting president has the power of the president to assent to bills, and he will assent to this bill when the processes are completed.
Litigants have been told to develop open minds to court judgments and not insist on winning all the time. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogan, said this while interacting with the new executive of the Alumni Association of the National Institute during a visit. Oku Ekpeyong reports.
The visit by the executive of the Alumni Association of the National Institute, AANI, on the Chief Justice of Nigeria was quite interactive, where the CJN called for a more realistic scenario in a democracy where the rule of law should prevail irrespective of whose ox is God. He stressed that in any matter before the court, only one winner can emerge. Justice Onogan described the rule of law in a democracy as the answer to the rights of the governed and the independence of the Constitution.
It is either what you want or nothing. The judgment, if it doesn't go the way you expect it, it must be rubbish, or it must have been induced. Nobody wins a case on the basis of the facts before the court and the law applicable to it. Nowadays, every judgment is made in the public perception, which is very, very wrong.
President of the Alumni Association of the National Institute, AANI, Khalil Bolaji, said the visit by the association is the first by the new executive due to the importance it attaches to the judiciary, pledging to work with this arm of government for the sustenance of democracy.
We believe we have a lot to offer, especially in partnering with your office in terms of the manpower that will present.
Other justices of the Supreme Court were part of the interaction. In Abuja, Oku Ekpeyong, NTA News.
Nigeria's ability to achieve the key targets contained in the 2017 to 2020 Economic Recovery and Growth Plan is predicated on how the country can provide a low-carbon climate for agriculture and other productive sectors to thrive. This was at a forum on low-carbon growth for Nigeria holding in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
Nigeria went into recession in the second quarter of 2016, when the economy recorded 2 successive quarters of GDP contraction. But at the last quarter of 2016, the GDP indicators show a ray of positive hope as the projections move upwards. To sustain this upward movement of the GDP, the federal government launched the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan 2017 to 2020 with homegrown solution, that is, through agriculture, small and medium enterprises, as well as solid mineral sectors. The Senator Shehu Sani Foundation, the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, the Federal Ministry of Environment and other international bodies are here to chart a way forward for the realization of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government. Their argument is that to achieve this, improved power supply, good climate for agriculture are key. And these are predicated on a climate with low carbon. And to achieve such climate, gas flaring must be stopped, the use of low sulfur fuel, and proper implementation of the outcomes of the Paris Conference on Climate Change.
The president has ratified that agreement, has sent it to the United Nations, which means that Nigeria now needs to deliver on it.
One of those areas of emission is gas flaring. The second one is the use of dirty fuel. We have recently, in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade, embarked on the issue of low sulfur in our fuel. Right now, the allowable type of fuel that is coming into the country is about 3,000 parts per million.
If these measures are taken, job creation, poverty reduction, and food security will be accelerated in Nigeria. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
A healthy economy and an inclusive political system with growth in all sectors of the Nigerian economy is key to tackling poverty and inequality. Lydia Bassi reports that this was part of deliberations at Oxfam Media Roundtable on Inequality in Nigeria, which held in Abuja.
French economist Thomas Piketty puts it that the biggest problem the world faces is inequality, which is hugely fundamental to the instability in the world. From as low as 2.8% growth rate in 1999, Nigeria's economy soared, making her the largest in Africa. However, increase in resources further deepened the challenge of fair distribution. What actions need to be taken to close the increasing income gap between the rich and poor? Oxfam Inequality Campaign, tagged Even It Up, which started in 2014, engaged journalists to propose solutions.
Oxfam is saying, why don't government really prioritize sectors like education, health, and agriculture, especially agriculture that employs up to 60% of the population.
Women constitute 50% of our population, and their participation in decision-making is very critical.
The key areas identified in tackling inequality are gender, taxation, governance, and public resources.
What can the government do? Promote manufacturing, promote entrepreneurship, promote startup, promote ICT villages, ICT hubs, and the government also needs to bring a long-term development plan.
After the event, Oxfam's Inequality Report was released. Oxfam is an international confederation of 20 organizations networked together in more than 90 countries as part of a global movement for change. In Abuja, Lydia Bassi, NTA News.
Wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has enjoined well-meaning Nigerians and other non-governmental organizations to extend the virtues of goodwill and philanthropism in supporting women and less privileged people in the society. Mrs. Buhari stated this at the foundation laying ceremony of the Children and Maternity Center at Daura General Hospital, Katsina State. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir has details.
Accompanied by the wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Shinbajo, the governor's wives, her aides and other entourage, the wife of the president was received at the Katsina airport by the governor of the state, Aminu Bello Masari, and his wife, Zakia, and proceeded to Daura General Hospital. The project is a 50-bed capacity children and maternity clinic donated by the Aisha Muhammad Buhari Foundation, which is a component of Future Assured, sponsored through philanthropism. It is aimed at complementing government effort in safeguarding the health of the nation. At the foundation laying ceremony, the wife of the president explained that the project is expected to cater for women and children of Daura and its environs as part of a humanitarian gesture in addressing the health challenges of women and children in the area.
I'm happy to be here in Daura today to have the laying foundation of a maternity center of 50-bed capacity, which is in line with the federal government policy to make sure that there is a functional primary healthcare center in each geopolitical unit in Nigeria.
One thing about Her Excellency, the wife of the President, whenever we get to sit down together, she only talks about two things, and that is Nigeria and Nigerians.
The Emir of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar, and the wife of the governor of the state, the Kia Bello Masari, assured the wife of the president of their full support in actualizing her dream.
The mother of the nation, the champion of the downtrodden, the pillar of vulnerable children, the agent of positive change, the bridge builder, and above all, the love and shining light of the president.
Mrs. Buhari later paid a visit to the elder sister of President Muhammad Buhari, Haja Rakia, and other family members. Thereafter, the wife of the president also paid a similar visit to the palace of the Emir of Katsina, Abdul Mumin Kabir Usman, where she told the Emir about her project and solicited for his support and prayers. The Emir promised the wife of the president of his continued support for any developmental project for the progress of his people and humanity in general. In Katsina, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
And thousands of women and children drawn from 3 senatorial districts of Benue State have benefited from a free medical outreach organized by Future Assured project of the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari. Blessing Omeche Buta reports that the exercise is carried out in conjunction with the wife of the Benue State Governor, Dr. Eunice Otom.
The free medical outreach of the Future Assured provided various services to the beneficiaries, some of which include blood pressure check, blood sugar check, tests for cervical and breast cancers, as well as distribution of drugs, among others. Wife of the President, Aisha Buhari, who was represented by the coordinator of Future Assured Project North Central Zone, Hanatu Zana, expressed optimism that the screening will improve the health of the Benue people.
Problem of infants, child and maternal mortality, which has been on the front burner of development discourse, can be drastically reduced if women begin to pay more attention to their health and that of their children.
Governor Samuel Otom, while applauding the initiative of the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, encouraged women to take advantage of the exercise and improve their health status.
Our partnership with Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Buhari stems from our total conviction that the healthier population is better placed to contribute meaningfully to the social, economic development of the nation.
Sedentary living and the excesses associated with our consumption habits must be checked in order to achieve healthier lives.
About 1,000 children were also dewormed in the course of the exercise. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ibute, NTA News.
Still on health, with the re-emergence of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, medical experts in Nigeria are braced to ensure it does not pose any threat to Nigeria. National Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of the National Center for Disease Control, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu, gave the assurance when he featured on NTA's breakfast program, Good Morning Nigeria, to discuss parameters in place to avoid a recurrence of the 2014 experience. Joy Uzo reports.
Dr. Ihekweazu, who expressed confidence with a massive response in NCDC, says there is increased surveillance in all the nation's ports of entry and the nation has easy access to vaccines through international collaboration. He said Nigeria is blessed with skilled medical personnel ready to respond to any reported case of Ebola.
2014, we were caught fairly unawares because in the whole context in West Africa, we never had Ebola on this part of the continent. So we really had to start from scratch. In terms of how we organize ourselves, I think the Nigerian Center for Disease Control really came to prominence after the outbreak, and government has really supported us to grow now and be prepared all the time and not just when there's a big scare like is happening at the moment.
NCDC National Chairman, however, called for infrastructural upgrade of laboratory facilities in the country while increasing the response mechanism and surveillance across the country's land borders. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, says all is set for the report of the recommendation on the national minimum wage and palliatives to be submitted to the Federal Executive Council for deliberation at the next FEC meeting. The minister disclosed this to journalists during an interactive session on what government is doing after receiving a report of the technical committee, which was received by the Joint Committee. Ngige said it has become imperative for a new minimum wage to be done.
As we were on the committee, Labour added more and more demands. As we were progressing and they were bringing these additions, the committee was bound to deliberate on them. And this report have been adopted by the Joint Committee that I talked about. The Joint Committee adopted this report last week. It's been taken to Federal Executive Council for the government, for the Federal Executive Council to approve, and the government will constitute a national minimum wage review committee.
Correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiro reports that the minister is of the opinion that the delay is due to the need to include all parties on board for the new minimum wage to have a national application after its adoption and passage into law. You're watching NTA Nationwide. Lagos is our first port of call as we join Demola with stories from that zone. Over to you, Demola.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good afternoon and warm welcome to Lagos. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonaya Onu, has reiterated the ministry's commitment to empower Nigerian artisans through vocational training programs. The minister stated this while inaugurating the National Artisan Training Center in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi compiled this report.
The minister commended the initiative of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute for organizing the training program. Dr. Ogbonaya Onu acknowledged the fact that Nigeria is the giant of Africa, hence the need to upgrade the operations of artisans in the country through capacity building.
The effort we are making today is to transform our economy from being resource-based to being knowledge-based and innovation-driven.
The Director General of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, Professor Danladi Matawal, said the concept of the training center was born out of the increase in the number of people who want to work as artisans without enough schools and vocational centers to train them. He enjoined participants to in turn transfer knowledge acquired to the aspiring artisans.
If there can be a major supporting scheme for artisans to be trained and retrained in the country, it will add value to them.
Some of the participants appealed to government to recognize artisans as professionals and engage them in national projects.
Let them empower us. Don't just train us and leave us. And when you give us a job, we are using this job to train the youths.
The event witnessed the unveiling of the curriculum learning guides and the official inauguration of the center. The minister had earlier performed similar functions in Ota, Ogun States.
The Registrar Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, Professor Ishak Oloyede says JAM will disqualify many computer-based centers from participating in the subsequent examinations following their poor performance in the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. Professor Oloyede stated this in Lagos while briefing newsmen on the challenges facing the board and steps to address them. Jane Ojuku reports.
Oloyede decried the activities of some unscrupulous CBT operators who were allegedly defrauding candidates by charging exorbitant fees for registration, as well as those conniving with candidates to cheat during the examination. He said that JAMB will continue to be ahead to maintain the sanctity and integrity of the examination.
We should eliminate some of these mushroom CBT centers who are there just to make money, but they don't want to make the money in a neat and clean manner.
The JAMB registrar disclosed that the board has demonstrated the capacity to release results as soon as a candidate is done with the examination.
1,648,429 are taking our examination, and we have released the result of 1,048,914.
He, however, pointed out that the board will subsequently take added measures, including previewing of CCTV recordings of the examination to ascertain credibility of the process before releasing results. Professor Oloyede advised parents who are in the habit of seeking shortcuts for their children during exams to desist from such, as it not only compromises the future of their children, but also impacts negatively on the society at large. In Lagos, Jane Ojukwu, NTA News.
The Lagos state government says it is committed to paying all outstanding entitlement of pensioners in the state. The Commissioner for Establishment, Training and Pension, Akintola Bensinoke, stated this in Lagos at a media briefing on the payment of 1.8 billion naira to pensioners in the state. Nosa Osula has the details.
According to the Commissioner, the population of pensioners in the state's mainstream public service as at February was 8,512, adding that the Akinwumi Ambode-led administration was determined to ensure that pensioners were paid their entitlements as and when due.
The ministry has embraced the service charter policy of the government by renewing and emphasizing its commitments towards excellent service delivery through a systematic approach to governance.
In a similar briefing, the State Commissioner in the Ministry of Science and Technology, Olufemi Odubiyi, urged all residents to embrace the newly designed portal known as Citizens Gate, which, according to him, is aimed at facilitating interaction, communication and connectivity between the citizens and the state governments.
Since the launch of the Lagos State Citizens Gate, the platform has helped the state to prevent outbreak of health-related diseases, address child abuse, inform the state about kidnappers' den, improve and help Cleaner Lagos initiative in areas of waste management.
Udubi also added that the state government is providing free public Wi-Fi services in selected parks and gardens, starting with the recently commissioned internet access at Ndubisi Kanu Park, Alausa, in Lagos. Nosa Osula, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. It's back to you, Elizabeth, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Demola. Nigeria is on the path to rapidly boost and expand its business frontiers and global relationships for economic greatness, as government is doing everything for business to thrive. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema gave the indication when he received a team from the Corporate Council on Africa, a U.S. business association promoting commercial relationship between the U.S. and Africa. Justin Bemuni reports.
Based on the fact that U.S. businesses have a huge stake in Africa, the Corporate Council for Africa works closely with governments, multilateral groups and businesses to improve the continent's trade and investment climate and to raise Africa's profile in the U.S. business community. President of the Council, who paid a visit to Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister to strengthen economic diplomacy, hopes to see a vibrant market and business site in Nigeria as a hub for Africa.
I'm such an advocate for it. I can't imagine that we would not be engaged with Africa, and that we would cede our spot here in this growing and vibrant market to others. China, Europeans, the Malaysians, the Indians, the Brazilians. I don't know why we would do that.
Noting that a lot of commerce and businesses are built on trust, the minister gave a clear indication that frantic efforts have been made to change the negative narrative and trust deficit Nigeria had in the past in doing business. He made a case for the personal engagement of the council to promote business relationships between the U.S. and Nigeria and encouraged foreign investors to invest in the country, engage the people, and also enable the nation boost its exports strength.
You know, in that whole context of making it easier for doing business here, we've also set this up to try to remove as much as possible all the bottlenecks that we're so fond of in this country, you know, to really make it difficult for the business community. And so we really like this, this idea.
The council requested for Nigeria's strong presence at the U.S.-Africa Business Summit, scheduled for next month in Washington, D.C., which hopes to broaden and expose business potentials in Africa to the United States. In Abuja, Justin Bemuyi, NTA News.
Over 30,000 Nigerians trained in renewable energy technology will be available every 2 years in the electricity market as the European Union and USAID facilitated the establishment of 12 training centers across the country. Mayor Ogidi was at the exhibition and launching of research literature by the Nigerian Energy Support Program in Abuja.
Inadequate power supply is a central issue on Nigeria's march to industrialization, and over 65% of its population is not connected to the national grid, despite the hydro, thermal, and renewable sources of energy the country has. More worrisome is the untapped nature of the renewable energy sources, hence those in the local areas resort to self-help. In order to expand the energy sources, the European Union and the German government started a capacity building program focusing on energy efficiency, energy audit, solar panel production and maintenance, mini-grids, rural electrification, and sustainable energy access.
The NESP is a program, 24.5 million euro program co-funded by the German government and the EU to support the Nigerian government to mainstream renewable energy and energy efficiency technologies for the power sector. Try to make the courses or the training material to be Nigeria-centric.
But one of the challenges we have had is lack of skills. So these training programs that is being launched here, it's going to help a lot. These trainings, all of them, there's prospect for young graduates to come in and acquire the skill, and they can be on their own.
With the completion of this training, 12 institutions have been established where youths can be trained on different aspects of renewable energy in Nigeria.
With renewables, you know, they are off-grid solutions, so you don't have the problem of distribution of transformers, you know, stepping up, stepping down, that kind of thing.
Beyond contributing greatly to the energy mix drive of Nigeria, renewable energy also helps in mitigating climate change, reduce carbon emission, increase economic and employment opportunities, and ultimately sustain development in Nigeria. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
The Executive Secretary of the West African Science Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use, Professor Jimmy Adegoke, says 10 West African countries are to benefit from science-based advice on climate change adaptation and land use. Professor Adegoke said this when he visited the Acting Director General, Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa, Mohamed Kachella, in Abuja.
The observation network in West Africa, both on the hydrology aspect, on the meteorology aspect, and also on the coastal monitoring and coastal assessment aspect.
Whatever humanly possible that what TTC and the Nigerian government can do, see that we share our experiences, resources.
Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, and Togo are pilot benefiting countries. Germany is the main funder for the West African Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use. Delta State Governor Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa has described the Anchor Borrowers Program as a veritable tool for ensuring the successful implementation of the federal government's economic diversification policy. He has therefore charged farmers to maximize the opportunity offered by the program. Ifeoma Okafo reports.
While chronicling his achievements for the past 2 years, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa said good governance must be participatory, and this informed the decision to take governance to the doorsteps of the communities through town hall meetings. He charged the rural dwellers, especially farmers, to take advantage of the CBN Anchor Borrowers Program.
CBN Anchor Borrowers Program. We have been working effectively on that, but unfortunately our farmers do not seem to have been able to take enough advantage of that process because of poor documentation. In the first year of our program, we supported farmers across the states with various inputs. It's unfortunate that the herdsmen farmer splash has become a problem.
Governor Okowa defied the rain to inspect several ongoing projects in Saple and Owara, which include a Yagep tomatoes and maize cluster farms in Songhai Delta, Amupe, Saple Technical College, Udua Grammar School, Owara, and Jesse Road dualization measuring 2.6 kilometers. In Saple, Ifeoma Okafo, NTA News.
This is NTA Nationwide. Agatha in Benin brings us a report on mental illness in Nigeria and more. It's over to you, Agatha.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening and welcome to Benin. With proper planning and good fiscal policies, Delta State will witness more completion of infrastructure across its senatorial districts. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa affirmed this while inaugurating some projects in the Isoko-speaking area of the state. Ifeoma Okafo has details.
0.87 kilometers Orole Road, awarded on December 5th, 2016, is one of the roads inaugurated by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as he commenced his 2-day walking visit to Isoko. This road from Allah Square is a link connecting Isoko North and South. Residents here believe the opening of the road will increase the economic activities in the towns as it leads to major markets in Ozoro.
We give kudos to the governor of Delta State, and we just pray that as they have done this development, it should also empower us, especially our suffering women.
Amawaideze Road of 700 meters, constructed with drains, was also completed.
So this inspection and commissioning is just the first step, but the very more important one is the town hall meeting, because we want to be able to interact with our people, putting their suggestions into our future plans.
The state is walking the talk in its commitment to provide a conducive environment for learning. Governor Okowa demonstrated this as he inspected the rehabilitated Ozahamodu Primary School and Emore Grammar School, Ole. In Ozoro, Isoko North, he flagged up the free eye screening exercise, which has treated over 1,500 people for various eye-related issues. In Ole, Ifeoma Okafo, NTA News.
The President, Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ, Ifeanyiwa Omowole, says priority will be given to training and retraining of members across the country. She stated this in an interview with NTA News after her inauguration. Ogochukuka Ona reports.
I tell you one thing that it does, apart from the certificate you get, it also broadens your scope and your horizon and makes you a more experienced journalist.
After the election in the early hours of Friday morning, Ifeanyiwa Omowole polled a total of 410 votes to defeat her rival and former deputy Bilkis Oladimeji, who got 270 votes.
Omowole 400 and
Ifeyinwa, as senior editor with the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, administered the oath of office on the other executive, Deputy President Mary Atto, National Secretary Ladi Bala, National Assistant Secretary Helen Udofia, National Treasurer Ifeobi, and National Auditor Sola Jacobs, and zonal officers. Mrs. Omowole says it is a testimony that women journalists are at home with her policies and programs. She promised to do more to uplift the welfare of female journalists.
I just want to say thank you to everybody, every Nawajian, and even members of NUJ for believing in me, and for the first time in the history of Nawaj, giving me a second chance to continue and to consolidate.
I just can't explain how I feel.
In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
Now, mental health awareness is low, making it difficult for people to access health care, get diagnosed, and even acknowledge that they may be suffering from mental health issues. Olubukola Aduo examines the causes of mental illness vis-a-vis the increasing spate of suicide in Nigeria.
For me, I can't commit suicide.
A child of God, we never think of something of what? No.
The responses of these Nigerians when asked if they can commit suicide confirmed the recent report of the United Nations, which ranked Nigerians the 6th happiest people in Africa and the 95th in the world. According to the Wikipedia definition, a mental disorder, also called a mental or psychiatric disorder, is a diagnosis by a mental health professional of a behavioral or mental pattern that may affect suffering or a proper ability to function in life.
Almost all major causes or different types of mental illness can eventually lead to suicide. But among them, depression is the leading cause of suicide. And depression and anxiety disorder are very common in our society.
He said living a healthy lifestyle, being open-minded and optimistic at all times, and sharing of one's challenges with relatives and friends will go a long way in reducing mental illnesses in the society, while urging government at all levels to pay more attention in the areas of funding and awareness of mental health services in the country. In Akure, Olubukola Aduo, NTA News.
And that's it from here. News Nationwide continues in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Agatha. And you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. We'll now take a break to bring you some messages. Nationwide continues in just a moment. Stay with us.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
TV Guide magazine is out with fabulous Fab Funke Akindele Bello, aka Jennifer, adorning the cover. She opens a secret not known even to her family. Find out the secret. NTA turns 40 this year. The challenges, the emerging trends in broadcasting, and the way forward. Weekend Dealer 2. Meet the team behind the biggest deal on NTA. Is food still the way to a man's heart? If not, what else? This edition is hot and juicy. Meet your star faces on screen. Entertainment, fashion, young minds, social media, and great personality.
This is idiosyncratic and heterodox.
Yeah. Yes, Professor John Bull is on the radar. Find out what makes this program the rave of the moment on NTA Network, and for the prof, over and out. TV Guide. Ask your vendors or book your copy at every NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Hi, my name is Shego Arinde, and Nigeria is my country. A country of 180 million hard-working people. In more advanced countries like the UK, the US, Canada, lottery has produced billionaires in big lottery money. And several charities have gotten funding from lottery plays. If we all play lottery, we can together produce millionaires and billionaires in Nigeria. And that can be. With give and take, everyone who plays with little has equal opportunity of winning big money. Give and take. Win big, live your dreams.
Admission forms for the 2017-2018 academic session of NTA Television College JAWS into its diploma programs are now on sale. The diploma programs are in film and TV production, broadcast journalism, and TV engineering technology. Applicants are required to have at least 5 credits, including English language and mathematics at SSC, NECO, or GCO levels in not more than 1 sitting. Application forms can be obtained from the TV College Refi JAWS or at any NTA zonal centers nationwide on payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA Television College. Completed application forms should be returned to the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, or the center of purchase on or before 28th of July 2017. For further inquiries, please call 0806 980 9807 or 0703 660 7155. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you can be.
I came to Maiduguri cycling my bicycle when the Boko Haram captured our town, Bama, on the 1st September. I came to Maiduguri with nothing but my rosary and my GSM phone, and the bicycle I came with only my NYC certificates, everything, my shop, my house were razed down by the Boko Haram. I became a destitute, an IDP living in the IDP's camp. Thanks to Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, with N-Power now, at least I feed my family and also have some savings.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA Network Service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Nationwide. A technical committee has been set up to work out modalities for the planned cooperation between the Ministries of Science and Technology and Defense. This resulted from a partnership agreement between the two ministries for the local manufacture of military equipment in Nigeria. Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, described the partnership as a well-crafted strategy to develop the production capacity of security personnel in the country, utilizing available technology platform.
So that our two ministries will help our country to solve this problem that has been there since independence. We cannot continue to go the way we have been.
The Minister of Defense, Brigadier General Mansour Dangali, acknowledged that the Defense Industry Corporation could not produce any tangible military equipment in the past 30 years and assured Nigerians that it will be replaced by a military-industrial complex that will have short, medium and long-term strategies. Science correspondent Kieran Umayo reports that the committee is also tasked with the responsibility to create a platform for Nigeria to export goods and services to other countries. And the Nigerian Air Force has restated its commitment towards addressing housing deficit in its base across the country as a way of improving welfare of its personnel and enhanced performance. This was at the inauguration of Married and Transit Officers' Quarters by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar at the NAF base, Abuja. Olajide Bello has details.
The use of the officers of NAF base, Abuja. Thank you.
Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar commended President Muhammadu Buhari and the legislature for the support towards enhancing the proficiency in the operations of the Nigerian Air Force. He said the provision of shelter for its personnel will go a long way towards boosting their morale for effective discharge of their duties.
Squadron Leader Ado's block will be used as a permanent accommodation for married officers, while Flying Officer Lyle Mason's block will be used as transit quarters for our officers. I believe the construction of these blocks will go a long way in reducing the challenges being experienced with residential accommodation in the Nigerian Air Force and especially in Abuja. On our part, I want to assure our personnel that we will continue to do all that is humanly possible to improve on the welfare of personnel.
As of July 2015, in the admin branch, we realized we had a little over 45% of our personnel accommodated. And today we're looking at 63%, which is an increment of 18% in just 20 months.
He said the Air Force will continue to place premium on the welfare of its personnel so as to have a combat-ready Air Force to continue to defend the country's territorial integrity. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Enugu State Government approves fund for the rehabilitation of roads. This and more as we join Chinyere in Enugu. Over to you, Chinyere.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Enugu. Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has charged the intending pilgrims from the state to pray for the economic growth of the country and eschew acts capable of putting the state and the country in a bad light. The governor stated this while addressing some intending pilgrims to Israel at Government House in Enugu. Ijoma Ugweke reports.
State government, Dr. Gabriel Aja, admonished the intending pilgrims to be good ambassadors of the state and the country while at the Holy Land. He reminded them that their mission is to seek the face of God and intercede for the country to come out of economic difficulties.
You are carrying the image of Enugu State to Holy Land. All of you as individuals and in your collective capacities will be representing Enugu State, will be representing Nigeria.
The chairman, Enugu State Pilgrims Welfare Board, while thanking the state government for its support to make their trip successful, promised that there won't be any news of abscondment from them.
It is now an issue of security, which is usually not discussed outside. But I can assure you that very strong measures have been put in place.
Some of the intending pilgrims pledged to conduct themselves well and put the affairs of the state in the hands of God. In Enugu, Ijomu Bweke, NTA News.
Candidates and examination coordinators in Aba have expressed dissatisfaction of the general conduct of the 2017 JAMB examination, following numerous challenges occasioned by poor network services and epileptic power supply. Kelechi Okata has details.
Results in this year's JAMB just released, some examination coordinators rated the results average against what obtained in the past, where most of the students scored above average.
Some of my students scored 230, 240. Nigeria have not attained that level of using the CBT in writing these JAMB exams.
Results are out, the ones that they've taken. But the problem we have is that there's always network problem.
This CBT examination is not enough to assess the students' performance in the examination. So I believe that they should go back to the pencil and paper.
Some candidates who are yet to assess their results expressed dissatisfaction over the conduct of JAMB examination and still hope for an outstanding performance despite the challenges encountered from the registration exercise to the examination proper.
The examination was not really smooth for me because there was a network problem. It was off and on and my time was still going, so I was really crying.
While most centers in Aba have rounded off with the JAMB examination, others are still on till 20th May 2017. In Aba, Kelechi Okata, NTN News.
Eligible voters who are yet to register in Onitsha and its environs have expressed dissatisfaction with the challenges confronting the ongoing registration exercise. Dora Enwe, who went to some of the INEC
registration exercise, is being conducted in all the 774 local government areas across the country. In Onitsha, Dora Enwe, NTA News.
And Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in our Abuja studios. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chinyere. And intensifying the remembrance of Allah through Nafila prayers, supplications, and recitation of the Holy Quran lies at the heart of maximizing the spiritual benefits during the Ramadan fast. Imam of Area 10 Mosque, Yahya Garba, stated this after the Friday prayers in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaj reports.
Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, is observed by Muslims worldwide as a period of fasting to commemorate the first revelation to Prophet Muhammad. As one of the 5 pillars of Islam, the Muslim faithful is required to avoid food and drink from dawn to sunset, among others.
Ramadan has its spiritual benefits, which has to do with the kind of spiritual upliftment. If you are fasting, you are not expected to insult, you are not expected to fight, you are not expected to do so many bad things. You should refrain from what? Eating and drinking, both for the sake of Allah. That kind of God consciousness. In fact, the focal point of fasting is for one to acquire, to increase in piety and righteousness.
The Imam also enjoined worshippers to pray for the nation's leaders and prosperity. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
And Femichit in Just brings us reports making the rounds in the teen city. Over to you, Femichit.
Elizabeth, welcome to Jos. The Minister of Defense, Mansour Dangali, says the ministry is devising ways of eliminating friction to enhance security and national development. He made this known at a retreat for agencies on civil-military relations held at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru. Paul Dama reports.
Minister of Defense Mansour Dan Ali said the retreat is meant to promote more robust and dynamic ways in addressing the complex nature of challenges confronting the nation in the areas of terrorism, kidnapping, bunkering, extremism, and proliferation of arms among different components that make up the country.
The need for the Ministry of Defense to further consolidate on this effort by coordinating, supervising, maintaining a sustainable and robust security apparatus to confront these challenges is very, very imperative.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olanishakin, on his part said the concept of civil-military relations is not new, and given the diverse threats to national security, there is need for enhanced relation where mutual trust, understanding, and synergy are upheld for the good of all.
It is widely acknowledged that there are boundaries of professional conduct and experiences between the military and the civilian leadership.
Governor Simon Lalong says government cannot renege on its responsibility to foster peaceful coexistence among various sections of the society.
When our professions become the basis upon which we look down on others with disdain, such negative trends create acrimony and suspicions, which tend to accentuate divisive tendencies, not only within the professional lines, but also along ethnic, religious, and indeed geographical boundaries.
The retreat, which has the theme Enhancing Civil-Military Relations, a panacea for promoting security and national development. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Preparatory to the forthcoming Ramadan, which is characterized by tafsirs by various Muslim organizations and other gatherings to enlighten Muslims, the JNI Aid Group in Plateau State has organized a seminar on security and emergency measures for other volunteer groups in Jos. This, the group believes, will prevent any eventualities at tafsir sessions during the period of the holy month. Abba Abubakar Yakubu has details.
The program held for 2 days, where the participants from about 10 different first aid groups undergo rigorous training by professionals from various fields on how to rescue lives and property, as well as a proper coordination of Muslim gatherings. It will be recalled that 2 years ago, some members of Boko Haram sect attacked a tafsir session at entire mosques in Jos, in which many people lost their lives, including members of the first aid group. This, therefore, necessitated this training by the leadership of the Jamaatul Nasr Islam for a second time to build the capacities of first aiders to enable them to face any humanitarian challenge.
We felt this topic is very vital and important if we look at the kind of those that are giving assistance and in public, and how will they cope up with this terrorism that disturb the entire world, not here in Nigeria alone.
JNI's Administrative Secretary in Plateau State, Sheikh Abdul Aziz Yusuf, and Ustaz Munir Ilyas advised them to carry out their duties with sincerity and fairness without any religious discrimination. A lecture on the theme of the seminar, First Aiders and Challenges of Terrorism, was presented by Colonel Adam Hassan of the headquarters of the Operation Safe Haven. Certificates were presented to the 350 participants. In Jos, Abba Abubakar Yakubu, NTA News.
That's all from this end. It's back to you, Elizabeth, in Abuja.
Thank you, Femichit. Sports update is next with Ayodiji Makinde.
Oparaku is among 31 professionals in contention for the $30,000 purse prize at the Dennis and Elizabeth Okata Memorial Tournament at Arsenal Golf and Country Club in Owerri, Imo State. Oche Ngbede reports that Oparaku shot 3 birdies on the front 9 to record a score of 72 after round.
We're sorry, we're having some challenges with the sports update there. And it's on that note, we end NTA News Nationwide. We thank you for watching. From all of us here, it's bye for now.